Alright, this is just a quick video on how I install the glass track in my Beardy's cage. Just step back and let you have a look at it so far. Okay, now I've already got my glass track installed, but I'm going to show you how I did it. What I did is along the bottom track, try and get out of my light here. What I did is I have these small finishing nails here. Focus in on that. They're only about 5/8 long. You can go shorter, you can go longer depending on the width of wood you have on the bottom. To make my life easy, what I went and did is I used a longer, sort of fatter spike, and I would set that where I want it in the glass track, tap it a few times to get through the glass track. This plastic is actually quite hard and a rather big pain in the ass to deal with. So I would get through the plastic and start it into the wood and then pull it back out before tapping in the finishing nail. With the finishing nail, I would only go in to the top of the glass track, because if you went any more, your hammer would mash the glass track and it would be useless. Then I would take a punch, nail punch, with the proper size head, and I would tap it down to get into the groove of the glass track. What I would also do is angle my punch and flatten the sides so that when your glass slides over, it will actually go over the nail without catching and making a horrible scraping noise with glass and possibly damaging your glass, which I have seen happen in another cage that I've built. Now the reason I use the nails on the bottom is because they have the small flat head on them. Try to focus on that. They got a small flat head. They'll hold the track in place as well as stay out of the way of the glass once they're down. You could use glue, maybe not a carpenter's glue. There is a stuff out there called No More Nails. See, I have some over here. No More Nails by LePage. Got to use a caulking gun to put it on. You could use that. My only issue with that on the plastic is that it takes a little longer to dry, and if it happens to be moved or bumped out of place, you're in big trouble and it won't be sitting where you want it to. However, it is a possibility to put it in there if you clamp it in place and gently clamp it so you're not crushing your glass track. It's not a big deal. Yeah, you can use that. I actually use, just so you know, I actually use No More Nails to do all my joints on my cages. I just find that glue and nails or glue and screws is always the way to go. I always use screws. I hardly ever use nails for anything anymore. It just makes life easier. And what I've done is on anything that I've screwed, I've actually covered with the DAP stuff that I showed you earlier in one of my other videos, which will probably be linked up with this one altogether. One big long video. Okay, so for the top, what I've done is on my drill, this is just my cordless, I have got my smallest bit, and I've got it extending as long as I can because I need it to get up and in, like such. You gotta be careful with these tiny little bits because they tend to snap very easily. So what I did is I pre-drilled just to get it started. Again, just getting through the plastic and started into the wood. And I was using number 4 1/2-inch screws. They've got a number 0 Robertson head on them. They're hard to see. Anyway, very, very tiny. These work great. I wish I had the bit for my drill so that they went in faster instead I had to use my screwdriver. Pain in the ass because as you can see, very, very tiny. Most common Robertsons are number 1s or number 2s, your green or your red. This is a black number 0. So that's how I put them in there. I'll just see if I can get my light down here. If you ever have issues working with enough light in your shop or wherever you're working, this is just a shop light that I have. You know, groovy little shop light, but it's got the clip. And with me in the basement, I can actually clip it to my rafter and I'm doing good. So, get my light down in here. Get the camera angled up. And right there-ish, you can see the screw. Now, in the top track, it doesn't matter if they go all the way in. I've got these screws in as far as they can go, but you can see just by the shadow that it's casting there that it's not in all the way. With that plastic, if you go in too far, you may split the plastic, or you know, they may just go in too far and then they're not holding anymore. So with the top, I only screwed in until it would basically resist to the point where it would stop. I wouldn't force it to go anymore, and I wouldn't try and countersink anything. It just doesn't work. So I just put the screws in, tighten them up as good as they would go, and that would be it. The glass track that you buy in the stores, you may have to go to a specialty shop because they just don't make the glass windows like that anymore. Your top track, as you can see, is a lot thicker and wider, deeper, whatever, than the bottom track, and that's so that you can slide your glass up and in, position it in place, and have it sit down on the bottom track where it's going to be sliding. So anybody that's ever had those old windows in their house would know about these and how pretty much useless they are for any R value in a house. Okay, so that's how I installed the glass track. Hope it helps at all. There's maybe some other ways to do it, but I'm just not sure what it is because they actually don't tell you in the store how you can do it. I guess you can silicone it. If you got a good heavy-duty silicone with a good good grab to it, could silicone them in place. Again, you'd have to clamp it in place though in order to do that. And although I like using clamps to build, glass track has a tendency to squish and not reform whenever you clamp it and clamp too hard. So there. Hope it helps.